show that our Liberty regular governing board meeting is coming to order November 10th, 2025 here in the Jerry Rovey facility. It is 5:30 p.m. Show that we have 5 board members present. Board Member Todd, Board Member Schmidt, Board Member Zimmerman, Board Member Cirencioni, and myself, Chris Kenyon. And that takes us to 1.2, the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Cirencioni, could you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. It's going to take us to item 1.3. And I apologize, I called this to order for the regular meeting, but this is actually the opening of the election of board officers meeting. And so 1.3, approval of the election of board president. Just like members last week, I had asked if any board members were interested in being board president, and I would ask the same. And I would like to say I would like to be board president, but we would see who else.
I make a motion to approve Sarah Schmidt as the new board president beginning November 10th, 2025.
Ms. Zimmerman, I didn't ask for a motion yet, but I will accept it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and take the vote. Board Member Todd?
Present.
Board Member Schmidt?
Aye.
Board Member Zimmerman?
Aye.
Board Member Cirencioni?
Aye.
And I am going to show that I'm a nay. We'll show that that passes with 3 yes, 1 no, and 1 present. And with that being said, I will go ahead and turn over the gavel and everything to now Madam President Schmidt.
Right. That brings us to item 1.4, approval of election of board president. Do we have a motion? Did I say? Sorry, vice president. So approval of election of the board vice president. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Brian Cirencioni as the new board vice president beginning November 10th, 2025.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for the approval of Brian Cirencioni as the new board vice president, beginning November 10th, 2025. Okay, we can take a vote. Board Member Todd?
Present.
I will vote yay. Board Member Zimmerman?
Aye.
Board Member Cirencioni?
Aye.
Board Member Kenyon?
Aye.
All right, that is approved, 4 aye and 1 present. So as of November 10th, 2025, our new board vice president is Brian Cirencioni. That moves us to 2.1, adjourning of the election of board officers meeting at 5:34 p.m. We good? Everybody's good? All right, so we can move on to 3.1, calling to order the regular meeting for November 10th, 2025. We'll call that to order at 5:30. We'll say 5:35. (3.2) Approval of regular meeting agenda. Can I get a motion for the regular meeting agenda?
Madam President, motion to approve the regular agenda form consistent with board policy 1-302 and temporarily suspend governing board policy with which this agenda may be inconsistent.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right. We have a motion by Board Member Cirincione and a second by Board Member Zimmerman. We can take a vote. Board Member Todd,
Aye.
Board Member Schmidt, aye. Board Member Zimmerman,
Aye.
Board Member Cirincione,
Aye.
and Board Member Kenyon.
Aye.
All right, we can show that that passed 5 aye, 0 nay. Sorry. All right, moving on to item 4.1, attendance and enrollment reports and school newsletters for discussion information. And Ms. Mahorn, Dr. Mahorn, excuse me, do you have anything?
I do not, just if anyone has any questions, any board members.
Any board members have questions?
I have a couple.
Go ahead.
If we could pull up the class by homeroom sections, please. So I just had a couple questions. If we're looking at Freedom Elementary and where those kind of blank, they're white, they're not dark gray like some of the other ones, is that indicating that we are looking to hire for an additional section, or because the 7th grade obviously is very high, but the 6th grade isn't in the red. So I'm just curious what that is indicating.
I believe, and I know that the principal is here right now, but I believe what we have posted opening right now is 7th grade that we're looking to hire. Am I correct, Carlos?
Okay, so it would just be one position though. Okay. Okay. And are we doing anything, additionally to support that 7th grade that's very high? Do we have a para in there or anything like that? Okay. Have we, because I know sometimes we, do provide that para support when the numbers are high. Have we considered posting for that too, just to see if we could get something?
Not yet, we haven't.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. And then if we could pull up the enrollment count, please. And again, this is just, for the public to understand especially when we do the budget revision in December, that we are down 3 kids from last month, 57 from this time last year, and 108 from May. And 108 is what we based our ADM on last May. So, that is pretty concerning as we, move into the next agenda item and looking at the budget, because I think we're going to have to revise that number, which means there's going to have to be some cuts. So, I think that I'm not sure, I can't speak to why we're not seeing the increase in kids, but it's just something that I think this board needs to pay really close attention to, because it is an unusual trend, to not be gaining enrollment, especially when we opened a new school.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I have a question on that one. Yes, attendance is absolutely, looks like it's trending down a little bit. That's a problem across Arizona for everybody. I guess I need some clarification. Where it says, like, for October, -57, that is including, is that just for the month of October, or is that the school year at this point? So we're actually only down 57, not 108, is that correct?
This would be a better question for the department that takes care of this. I don't know if. Okay. Just to the mic, yeah.
So my question was, so for October, it says this is -57. is that means total for every month up to this point, or is they just saying we're 57 behind for October and 108 for the year?
So, board members, thanks for the question. And I've looked at this data in so many different ways, and I've had so many different conversations about this. And this particular sheet, I know that we were looking at this, I believe it's year over year. So if we're looking at from October of this year to October of last year, those numbers look pretty reflective of what that would look like. Just, the almost same time last year, we were at the end of September, we were at 4,606. And right now, like as of a couple of days ago, we're at 4,543.
So are you saying that that number is even less than what's listed here? Because for the end of October, it's saying 4,556.
Yeah, this is as of November 4th. It would be 4,543. It's the most recent data that we have. And it's generally the trend, it's looking just pretty flat within 1%.
For this current year.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
What was that, Matt? Oh, I thought you did. So regardless, negative enrollment's bad for us. I'm just trying to get a better picture of the actual, what we're saying here.
If you look at the trend line, it's starting to flatten out. I'd be glad to send some more detailed graphs and in the next board update so that you can kind of see what we're seeing here.
So this number, that's 4,543, that's of the other day. So that's 13 more down from the end of, so in 5 days, we lost 13 more kids. Because this number, 4,556 from 1030.
Now, yes, and
Okay.
and remember that enrollment is sort of a moving
Sure.
target. We have students in the queue, we have students withdrawing, and so it's just that snapshot on day to day. And when we look across, we are seeing, a pretty flat within 1%, but that slight downward trend.
Right. And again, just, for clarity's sake, because if you're looking at May, which is what we took as our ADM, that's how we calculated our ADM for this year, is what we ended at in May. And so that number is down. And we have talked about, having a bigger outgoing 8th grade class than in smaller incoming kinder, but, it's going to be a concern. I just want to point out, and I meant to last time, is I think that if you scroll up, I just think that first column that's not in the dark gray should say 25, 26, and then 8, 29, 25.
Yes, ma'am. I'll look
Okay.
at that.
Okay. I just meant just for the public to know. Thank you.
Any other questions about this? All right. Then we will move on to 4.2, the monthly budget report for October 2025, Dr. Stephanie Mahorn and Crystal Mosier.
Good evening, Governing Board. I have the October expenses. So what you see on the attached report is everything through October 31st. That includes expenses and encumbrances. So I can answer any questions. I've also included the prior months in the file.
All right. Any questions from board members?
I have a couple. Thank you so much for including those. It was really nice to be able to just see them month over month. So again, we're about, 1 million down in M&O. What do you attribute that to this month?
It's still kind of the same thing. Salaries and benefits that re-encumber every time we do payroll. There hasn't been any really large purchase orders that have gone through. So it's just the changes of those types of things.
Okay. And I know I'm pretty sure last month you said that we should expect to get more Title I funds because I can see that that number, is pretty low, and I assume we use that to pay for Dreambox.
Yes.
Okay. When did you say, I apologize, that money is, we can expect to have more title funds again?
So there's 2 time periods where we'll get extra money. One is once we file our completion reports from last year, we'll get carryover money from last year's grant into this year's grant. If we're lucky, that will happen in December, but usually it's January, maybe early February. And we've also been told that we should get additional allocations. That's really up to ADE, so it could be any time. But kind of what we've heard is around that same time period, December, January. Last year we did get one final allocation, probably in end of February, middle of March, somewhere in that time frame. So it's kind of just whenever they get money, they pass it along.
And as you look at this, summary 3 months in, kind of with the ADM kind of looming, is there anything you're super, concerned about that, you think the board should be aware of or that we should be paying closer attention to?
I don't have any huge concerns, but I think at this point we should be pretty cautious with both M&O and capital, just because encumbrances start happening. We've got a lot of our purchase orders in place. We've got salaries and benefits in place of what we think they'll be, but it's still a lot of months to go. So this is our point where our schools kind of around winter break start checking their budgets, making sure they're not going over in their supply orders and things like that. We do the same thing here at the office, is make sure things are getting paid timely, but also a good time to make sure we've got everything in place.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Ms. Mosier?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So you said the remaining M&O went down like $1 million because of payroll. So that should have been encumbered at the beginning of the year, though, correct?
Well, it changes every payroll because we make adjustments for people who come in and people who leave. So when there's vacancies in our system kind of calculates what that position might be if we filled it for the rest of the year.
Right. So we encumber at the beginning of the year for all positions. So I'm confused at how we lost $1 million. Because what I'm worried about is next month, are we going to lose another $1 million? Because that puts us down to $130,000.
Yeah, mostly at this time, a lot of it is benefits. Benefits recalculated last month because everybody started paying again. And so there's little adjustments that happen all the time every time we run payroll. But the positions are there. So that is encumbering the money for the vacant positions that we have. And then purchases, nothing crazy has come through.
So are you saying next month that this remaining M&O will be at 130,000 because we're going to drop another $1 million?
No, I would not expect to see that, no.
So where did the new encumbrance for the payroll for $1 million come from?
So every time we run payroll, it recomputes the whole rest of the year. So if anybody has had any changes during that 2-week time period, it recalculates everything.
Like what kind of change? I'm not trying to drill you. Just
So like if we have an employee resign, we have to remove them from the position and balance a bunch of different things on their payroll and on their benefits side. If we have new employees that are hired, all of those things get added to the system every day.
so
So when we run the next payroll, it recomputes for the whole year.
but if we lose people and add people, that should kind of balance it out, correct?
It could.
Okay. We don't see this again. You don't foresee this happening again next month, though.
I don't.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions for Ms. Mosier? All right, then thank you for your update.
Thank you.
We can move on to 5.1, governing board updates. We'll start with board member Todd.
Not a lot to report. I apologize for missing the last meeting, 2 meetings in person. I had work travel that required me to be out of town, so I apologize for that, but should be back for the foreseeable future.
Thank you. We will move down to board member Kenyon.
Thank you. Yeah, I had last Thursday was able to go. Liberty Elementary put on a spectacular Veterans Day celebration breakfast as they do every year, and it's just that we had the Elks come out and cook breakfast for the vets and a nice presentation. Very, very well done, very well received. One of the highlights of the year. I encourage anybody next year, if you get the chance to go to that, it's very well worth it. And then with that being said, tomorrow is Veterans Day, so I just wanted to wish all vets, their families, those who are retired, those who are back in the States, those who are active duty, the best wishes and safety for their families.
Great, thank you. Vice President Cirincione.
Thank you. Yes, I was able to go to that preschool parade, Halloween costume extravaganza. It was pretty amazing. I made it to the morning show. Seeing the smiles on their face, I think a lot of them weren't really sure what was going on, to be honest. Like, they were overwhelmed because everybody was like in their face handing them candy, but it was really good. There was a huge turnout. There was tons of candy, so that's nice. I think there's a lot of support from the community for that. I was also able to get a tour of the school finally, and get to some of the classrooms. I do want to give a shout out to, I might say it wrong, the medically fragile classroom. Is that right? Those professionals in there do an amazing job, and everybody says that's the hardest job, this is the hardest job. I think that might be one of the hardest jobs I've seen in the school. So I just want to give a shout out to them. I know they're doing great work. So.
Thank you. Board Member Zimmerman.
Thank you. I was able to attend the preschool parade in the afternoon, and it is just really fun to be a part of preschool. And what I was so impressed with was the inclusivity that I saw during that, with lots of different children participating in different ways. They were using assistive technology for language, and it was just really cool to see all that come together and everybody participating in the way that they were able to and best met their needs. So I thought that was really cool, and I was grateful to be able to attend as a board member this year, as I had been a parent there for the last 2 years. I also was able to get to Estrella. They had an event for PJs and coding. And so we were able to see the cool things that kids have been able to do with coding. And my son was very excited to show me his animations and things. So that was very cool. And then today I had the honor to go to the Veterans Day Assembly at Las Brisas. So I was grateful to be able to make it to one of our schools as they honored our veterans today, and I think they did an excellent job. And it's just really cool to see the different ways that schools, honor our veterans. Also, since the last meeting, letter grades came out from the state, and so I think it's important to take a moment to recognize our schools and our district. We had 4 schools that achieved an A, Liberty, Las Brisas, Estrella, and Westar. And 3 of those schools maintained their A. And I think that's a really big accomplishment, because when you're getting an A and you're getting a lot of those growth points, sometimes that's hard to maintain. And so that was excellent. And overall, our district is a B, which I think is a great achievement as we continue to move forward with student achievement. And I just want to highlight Estrella for a second, because they have been an A for 4 years in a row, which is an extremely admirable accomplishment to be able to continue to maintain that A and to show growth year over year. And I just want to highlight Mrs. Boris, who leads that staff and continues to push her staff for student achievement and to raise the bar year after year. And I just think it's a testament to her leadership as she faced some unnecessary and unfounded internal pressure last year, and she did not let that deter her. She managed to block out all that uncertainty and focused herself and her staff for their why. And their why is our students. And she continued to do that, and they were able to produce amazing results for the 4th year in a row. So thank you to Mrs. Boris.
Great, thank you. Um, I would like to echo what Ms. Zimmerman said about the letter grades for the school district. Congratulations to all of the staff and the principals who have worked so hard to achieve these grades and really show us what the district can do and what our students are capable of. So again, thank you. Ms. Zimmerman already said it quite well, so I'll just say that. And then lastly, I would just like to say that I am humbled and honored to now currently have this position and work for all of you even more. Please reach out to me if you want to, if you ever feel the need, if you see me around. I do not have a child in the district, so you don't see me as a parent, but I try to come in when I'm invited and attend anything that I can. So please keep those invitations coming. And I look forward to working with everyone. That's all. Thank you. And we can move on to 7.1, approval of consent agenda. Oh, I'm so sorry. I totally skipped that. My fault. First time. Sorry. 6.1, public comment. And Vice President Cirincione, would you like to call them?
Do we need to watch that video first?
Oh, they missed the video. Just a reminder, you'll have 3 minutes. The timer will be running and your microphone will cut off at the end.
Welcome to the Liberty Elementary School District Governing Board meeting. We appreciate your interest in the district. The 5 elected governing board members serve without compensation and volunteer countless hours on behalf of our students and staff. The president and the vice president of the board are elected in January. Under state law, the governing board may only discuss and vote on matters that are on the agenda for tonight's meeting. Agendas are posted a minimum of 24 hours in advance on the Liberty Elementary School District webpage and at the Jerry Rovey District Complex. Copies of tonight's agenda are located in the foyer and on the district webpage. If you wish to make a public comment, please complete a request to address the board form and submit it to the board secretary before the meeting starts. These forms are located in the foyer prior to entering the governing board room. Members of the public will be given up to 3 minutes to speak at the discretion of the board president. Once recognized, please state your name and if you live inside or outside of the district. During the call to the public may speak on any item of business on the agenda that requires the board to take action. The public may also speak to the governing board about a school district matter that is not on the agenda. State law prohibits board members from commenting on or discussing the matters presented at the end of the call to the public. However, the board may ask the superintendent to review the issue or place it on a future agenda. A board member may also briefly respond to criticism of a board member or the governing board itself. We ask that all speakers show respect and courtesy to others. Comments must pertain to a matter that is within the jurisdiction of the governing board. This is not an appropriate forum to complain about an employee, student, or others. We also ask the public who are present for the meeting to be respectful by being attentive, avoid calling out or creating any disruption that may interfere or interrupt the meeting. Individuals who interrupt or interfere with the meeting may be asked to leave by the board president. Inappropriate language and repetition will not be permitted. Thank you for allowing this meeting to be conducted in a peaceful and productive manner, and thank you for your attendance and involvement in tonight's meeting.
Madam President, we have 3 people requesting to speak tonight. The first one is LaQuinda Harrison.
Ready, set, go. Just kidding. Yat she liquende Harrison Yunshia, Dak Land at Nasha, Te Kainshla, Yobashi, but on it, she my deshkijan, nada. Hello, I speak to you. I'm Navajo. I'm from the Many Farms, Arizona. I'm a school psychologist in the district. The reason I'm here to discuss, or the reason I'm here is to ask for compensation of pay for services rendered since the beginning of August. I've worked for Liberty for 3 years, and the 3 years I have done what's needed. Why am I so nervous? My goodness, so many eyes. I'm so sorry. It's different when you're presenting for kids and when you're advocating for yourself and being up here. I'm like, huh. Okay. I've always done what's best for the interests of children with disabilities. I've always advocated for them. And in doing so, I've been asked to help across the district and all schools. And since August, I have helped out with 16 evaluations, 8 transfers. And as soon as I get done with these evaluations, I'm requested to help for more, or requested to help more. So basically, my question is, am I ever going to get paid for those services? I'm seeing people on the agenda getting paid for the services that are rendered. And I'm just wondering if I will ever get paid. Is it because of who I am? Is it my indigenous culture? I just don't understand that. So I've asked numerous times, will I ever get paid? Jeez. And I don't like to be up here to have to address this. But it's something that's concerning, you know? When you work countless hours to try to do what's right. And it seems as though people are not understanding how much work you put into help children who are in need, who cannot advocate for themselves. So I guess my question is, will I ever get paid for the services rendered? You know, and this is a big issue because the school psych world is small. So when I'm addressing these things, other school psychologists are watching these videos and they're seeing how school psychs are being treated. So, and right now we have, you know, contracted psychs. And I know that's something that the board members were concerned about at the end of the year and over the summer. And you guys are paying a great amount to pay them. And I love that they are here, that they are helping. But as Mr. Cicerone mentioned, it's definitely taking an impact on the budgets. And I don't understand why parents are not concerned on how school psychologists are not being compensated. That's all I just wanted to say. Thank you so much. Happy Veterans Day.
Next speaker would be Megan Canan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Megan Canan. I reside in district with 1 current and 2 former students. In the past few meetings, I have heard Mr. Todd speak to procurement items such as RFPs. He speaks as if he is versatile in procurement. However, many things he says are inaccurate. For example, wanting to go out for solicitation for wastewater. It would be a waste of time, be a waste of district time and funds to put that out, as the city of Mesa has already done that, and the district is piggybacking off that contract. School districts around the valley who are a part of Save and Guppies can utilize each other's contracts. It would be a waste of the business office's time, energy, and resources to go out for a solicitation for items, goods, or services that have already been solicited by other entities. If Liberty were to put out a solicitation, the pricing should come back as the same as the current entity's solicitation. His comments that solicitations take forever just further justifies that he does not have the knowledge behind procurement. Do you know that most solicitations must be open for vendors to bid for at least 3 weeks? After it closes, you have to complete evaluations, and then there's a potential for a best and final offer. A super rush solicitation takes at a minimum a month and a half. If you want to put together a good solicitation with proper time, it takes at minimum 2 months. I also want to throw my knowledge in about written quotes. It is common practice that if a service, good, or item costs less than $10,000, that procurement works with accounts payable, and that and if that purchase gets close to the threshold, they notify procurement, who then works with the person who requested the purchase order to complete 3 written quotes. to continue receiving the services. It is common to have to monitor and reprocure items as they approach their current threshold limits to stay compliant. I encourage this board to take some procurement classes and learn more about it to assist you in your position. I also suggest that you trust your business services department on the knowledge they do bring to you instead of telling them they are wrong. Especially Ms. Williams. She is a consultant who has been doing procurement and business management for many years, and I know she has vast knowledge, and she played a key part in the knowledge that I have. Thank you.
Next speaker is Paul Bixler.
Good evening. My name is Paul Dixon, and I live in Estrella Mountain Ranch. Democracy only survives when we fight for it and we work for it. As an Arizona veteran, I'm fully aware of what that sacrifice means. Since 2018, I have worked at a polling site every election cycle. November 4th was no exception. I was thrilled to work at the polling site at Estrella Mountain Elementary School. Although I don't represent the elections office, nor do I represent the recorder's office, I want to personally thank Ms. Borres and her entire staff for making that a great experience for us. We were set up in a side room off the library, which allowed for the library to continue to operate while the voting was going on, which meant that the students could see democracy in action. It was a thrill. Now, again, I want to thank all of the EMES staff for making us feel so welcome and for helping us to fight and save our republic. Thank you.
There's no more comment.
All right, thank you. That concludes public comment for this evening. We can move on to agenda item 7.1, the approval of the consent agenda.
I'd like to pull 7.2, 7.6, and 7.8.
Okay, we're pulling 7.2, 7.6, and 7.8. Any other board members have other items to pull?
7.3.
Also 7.3. So Ms. Camerata, did you get that? Okay. So would anybody like to make a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 7.2, 7.3, 7.6, 7.8.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. We can take a vote. Board Member Todd?
Aye.
Board Member Zimmerman?
Aye.
Board Member Cirincione?
Aye.
Board Member Kenyon?
Aye.
I'm also an aye, so we'll show that passed 5-0. So first up, 7.2. Ms. Zimmerman?
Yeah, there are a couple things on here. The resignations, we are applying the liquidated damages for all three teachers. And my concern is that, in a board update, we were told that we could not see the resignation letters because legal needed to redact them and they're going to work on that process. But in the meantime, it's still very difficult for me, like when it falls on our responsibility for me to make a decision to apply or waive liquidated damages without knowing the situation. And so I just think it's really imperative that we get the policy back on the agenda so that it's very clear who's in charge of waiving or non-waiving these liquidated damages.
Any other comments about 7.2?
Okay. I make a motion to approve 7.2 with the addition to supplemental compensation for Lee Harrison, school psychologist, in the amount of $4,700.
I have a question.
I'm going to repeat the motion first. I motion to approve personal action items with the addition of Lee Harrison, school psychologist. Oh, sorry. To supplemental compensation for $4,700.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have any discussion?
President Schmidt, just a moment, please.
Oh, sorry.
I have motion to approve 7.2 with the addition of,
Lee Harrison, school psychologist, to supplemental compensation in the amount of $4,700.
my screen just went blank. Hold on. Yeah, I lost it. Can you please repeat that, Ms. Zimmerman? Motion to approve 7.2.
With the addition of Lee Harrison, school psychologist, to supplemental compensation.
Hold on, please.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Sure what's going on. Okay, school psychologist.
To supplemental compensation in the amount of $4,700.
I have a question. Do I have to wait for a second?
Yeah, we need a second first.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Now there's any discussion. So go ahead.
So my question is, since this was raised during public comment and it wasn't already on here, can we take legal action with it?
So here's the thing is, I'm not sure if it sounded like all the board members were blind carbon copied on the email conversations. So I feel like there is documentation, how it was calculated, and frankly, we need to pay people that render services.
I'm not arguing that
Okay.
at all. I just want to make sure we're not breaking the law because it says we may not take legal action on a matter raised during the call of the public unless the matter has been placed on the agenda. With her name not being on the agenda, or I need some points of view on this.
I just think because if we're adding it to supplemental compensation, there are often times where HR prints us an additional thing and it's not attached to the board. But I mean, I'm not sure legal's here, but
Yeah, we don't have legal. So the option could be that we're having another meeting on Thursday. So could we have it added and then approve it on Thursday?
If no one else thinks it's a legal issue, I'm just raising it. I don't want to stop this from happening. I just want to make sure we're covering our butts. But if the rest of the board doesn't see an issue, that it doesn't violate it, because part of it's like, yes, the topic itself is on the agenda. So maybe we're fine.
Mr. Kenyon, go ahead.
Yeah, I would caution the board. I think this is something that we probably need to discuss before just adding it. And as the word transparency is always thrown out there, I'd like this to be more transparent on what this is, what it all entails. Being very careful we don't get off topic of what this has in front of it, in front of us, in front of the public even, as this personnel action item. So I would recommend that we probably go with what Madam President Schmidt mentioned. Maybe that can be something added to the next meeting, but I would caution taking action on it right now.
Any other comment? Go ahead.
I just want to say for the record that I have asked for this to be an agenda item and it hasn't been added. And I believe we got clear documentation of the proper steps that was taken. So if the board chooses to table it for tonight, I hope that it's added quickly so that we can compensate our employees for work performed.
Any other comment by board members?
I just want to clarify, I'm not saying I don't agree with the pay at this point until we get more information, but I'm only specifically talking about the legality behind it.
Okay. So we currently have a motion and a second. So we need to vote on the motion, or you can choose to table it. Is that correct? Okay,
I think we'd have, right?
go ahead.
I think we'd have to amend the motion.
Okay.
And I'm in favor of taking a vote.
All right. Well, we'll take a vote. Board member Todd.
I'm going to vote nay for the reasons that I think we do need to do this at a later time. I'm not opposed to the money, but I think we need to do this a little cleaner.
Okay, thank you. Board member Kenyon,
Whoops, nay.
Vice President Cirincione,
Nay also.
Board member Zimmerman,
Aye.
and I'm also going to vote nay on this one. So we will show that the vote was 4 nay, 1 aye. I would like to comment on my vote and say that I agree with paying our workers for what they are doing. But I also want to err on the side of caution legally. So we'll bring this back as soon as possible, potentially on Thursday. We'll see if we can get it on the agenda.
I would like to make a motion to approve the personal action item.
All right, we have a motion to approve personal action items. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we can take a vote. Board member Todd,
Aye.
board member Zimmerman,
Nay, and I'd like to explain my vote.
board member, Vice President Cirincione,
Aye.
board member Kenyon.
Aye.
I am also an aye, so that will pass 4 aye, 1 nay. And board member Zimmerman, go ahead.
I voted nay because, again, we are being asked to apply liquidated damages without any information as to what the criteria was for why they were applied.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item 7.3, approval of minutes of the October 29th, 2025 Governing Board Special Meeting and November 5th Governing Board Organizational Meeting. Mr. Todd, you pulled this one, right?
Did item 1.3 shows me abstaining. I did not abstain. I voted present. There is a very big difference in those.
Madam President, if I may.
Yes, please.
Ms. Cameron, were you saying that right now there's no option for present?
That is correct, President Schmidt and the rest of the governing board members. I did email you earlier. I checked with board docs, and there's either an aye or a nay, not present or abstain.
Okay. And along that, I'm pretty sure we don't have to approve minutes anyway.
I believe that did come up at the last meeting, but we do currently approve them.
I thought it was that we don't approve executive session minutes.
I believe the discussion was that we don't have to approve any minutes, like legally, but we do currently, as practice, approve minutes. So that is our precedent that we have set as a board, that we approve minutes.
President Schmidt and fellow board members, I did also include in that email that in the minutes, I did explain, even though we do not have a present selection, I did put in there that that board member Todd stated present. that reflects in the minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Camerata.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I guess I have a question.
Go ahead.
So you talked to board docs, and if they do fix it, you can go back and change it, correct?
President Schmidt and board members, I cannot alter a vote that you guys have already placed, but moving forward, if you would like for me to delete not present at a board meeting or abstain, one of those can replace the word present.
Okay, I'm not asking you to change it after we vote,
Yeah.
whatever today. I'm saying if we don't make a vote today, can you go back and change it? Is that against the
No,
policy?
I don't need a vote to change roll call. I don't need that vote.
Sorry, are you trying to say, can she go back and update the minutes to then
Bring it back at a
represent-
later date.
Yeah, so
Yes,
change
that's what I'm
it
asking.
from
The
abstain
minutes
to present in the minutes?
have.
Okay,
That's why you got that change
yep.
of alert for the minutes.
but in board docs, it will always, as of that vote, will always appear in the way that it was done currently. So it'll say
Abstain.
abstained because that was what was available at the
That's
time
the
of the
selection,
meeting.
correct.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Go ahead.
So are you saying that you can choose what the 4 choices of voting are in board docs?
Mhm.
And there can only be 4 choices? Okay. I mean, I
So-
do think we need an abstain and a not present.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure that we can change, I'm not in favor of changing it to present because if somebody needs to abstain because there's a conflict, I think we need that. And obviously if somebody's not present, like, I'm not sure we can get rid of them. And I don't know if when we move to diligent, if that will be an update, that there'll be more choices.
President Schmidt and board members, once we move to diligent community, I'm going to assume it's just a reflection of board docs. We'll be able to select the 4, or maybe they'll have more, I'm not sure. I mean, if you want, I could be yes instead of a or nay or I or, so if
Okay.
you would like for me to change it, maybe not present to present, I mean, it's up to you, but
Okay. I think,
it does reflect in the minutes.
thank you. Getting back to approval of the minutes, that can be something that could potentially be an agenda item request if people want to discuss what our 4 voting options are in board docs. But getting back to the approval of the minutes, they are reflective as best as can be. There was an explanation for why it is in as abstain, even though the vote was present, and not abstain during the meeting. So I think we've got that covered. If there's anyone else has any discussion about that, or we can move to make a motion.
President Schmidt, and fellow board members, I think Board Member Todd was just making that as a clarification.
Correct. I understand. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Anyone?
I make a motion to approve 7.3.
A second?
Second.
Right, we have a motion and a second. So if there's no further discussion, we can take a vote. Board Member Todd?
I'm an aye and I'll explain at the end.
Okay, thank you. Board Member Zimmerman?
Aye.
Vice President Cirincione?
Aye.
Board Member Kenyon?
Aye.
I am also an aye. We'll show that passed 5 to 0. And Mr. Todd, please go ahead.
Again, I think the discussion clarifies it, but just for the record, it's a shame that board docs once again limits us to this. Present is a much more common vote than not present. So I just want to make sure it's very clear my vote was present, and I think it is reflected properly based off of the email that Ms. Camerata sent out. That it'll show it there, but please make sure that gets in there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we can move on to the next agenda item pulled, 7.6, the ratification and approval of payroll vouchers. Ms. Zimmerman?
Looks like the numbers got switched from when I made my notes, so I'll just make a motion. I don't have any questions about this one.
Oh. Okay.
Make a motion to approve 7.6.
All right, we have a motion to approve 7.6. Second.
Aye.
Mr. Kenyon, were you making the second?
Oh, second, yes. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, we can take a vote. Board Member Todd?
Aye.
Board Member Zimmerman?
Aye.
Vice President Cirincione?
Aye.
Board Member Kenyon?
Aye.
There we go. And I'm also an aye. We will show that passed 5-0. And the last item pulled 7.8. That is the approval of additional field support technician 2 position. That's Mr. Mann. And Ms. Zimmerman, what are your questions?
So I had a couple questions. In the Department of IT, how many employees do you have?
I believe there's 8. Let me make sure.
That was my count just from the people that I know and people I see. So I just wanted to verify that that is what we had. So my concern with approving this position is tech was maybe one of the, or IT, I should say, was maybe one of the only departments during the cuts last spring that was not affected. We did not cut a tech position at all. And lots of other departments saw cuts. In particular, ones that are directly working with students. So I understand that, in a way that this position could help student learning, but they are not directly working with students. They're not directly working with principals. And again, in my belief, I don't feel like this is the position that we can add an additional position when we have ed services that, again, is a shell of a department. That I think, if we're going to add something, that's what we should be looking at. And again, when we are down to $1 million in M&O and we still have 6 months of the school year to go, I just don't feel like I can add something right now.
Thank you. Do any other board members have questions for Mr. Mann about this position?
Madam President, I would just suggest, as I've said for a long time, I think IT needs to, and all departments need to start looking at your campus, what the costs are. If you gave some very detailed numbers about what's happening and tell a story, it helps us better understand it. But just come for a position. Look, we know you're busy. We know your people are busy. They're quite honestly probably overworked. But to go back and look and see what's causing this, because maybe we need to invest in new technology to prevent you from having to do all the repairs that you're having to do, which would free up a person and get us better technology or save a position. So I think we need to continue to look, and every time you do anything, it should be internally billed back to some campus, some department, somewhere, so we can see where these costs are really going and give a snapshot better of what's happening. I've said it a million times, if you tell your story's going to get heard. Every department, when they come to the board, I think really needs to tell a story and have a very comprehensive plan. And again, if you're working to repair a bunch of computers because they're old, we might want to just buy new computers with that money instead of another FTE. So that would be my suggestion moving forward.
Thank you. Excuse me. Any other comments or questions from board members?
Yeah, Madam President.
Please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mann, for the information you did send us and the graphs and things that did help give us a snapshot of kind of what the IT department's been trying to tackle over the last couple of months. So I just wanted to say thank you to you and your IT department. I know that you guys running all over the district trying to make things continue to go. I also am concerned about, our budgetary issues where we're at. And so I appreciate you bringing this to us, and I don't know how the board will vote, but I do hope that if it doesn't get voted on tonight, approved tonight, that it would come back soon. So, thank you.
Would anybody like to make a motion? All right. Moving on. Yep, it's table done for this evening, and that is the consent agenda. So we can move on to general business. Agenda item 8.1, discussion possible action to approve Parent Square as a district-wide communication platform. Mr. Mann, this is you again. You could have stayed up there.
Thank you, board members. Appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to bringing this to you guys tonight. Tonight, I'd like to introduce Mr. Chris Prince from Parent Square, who will provide an overview of the platform's functionality, just talk about what it does for our parents and for our staff. Over the past several months, our team has worked closely with Chris while evaluating other communication tools. After vetting other vendors, Parent Square emerged as a clear choice, offering comprehensive features, integration capabilities, and accessibility our district needs to streamline communications with families and staff. I'll now turn it over to Chris to kind of walk us over the basics.
Board members and members of the district administration, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. My name is Chris Prince. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Parent Square. I've had the good fortune of working with many districts in the county that are using Parent Square a lot in the state. I've been in education technology for about 15 years. I'm also the dad of 3 teenage girls. I've used a lot of these messaging platforms that are available. I want to tell you a little bit about Parent Square and why we're bringing it to Liberty Elementary, hopefully. It is a platform that will streamline a lot of the different messaging tools that are being used at the district level, at the site administration level, into the classrooms. It is modern. It is built for today's parents and guardians. They are millennials. They are Gen Zs. They are living in social media. And it is also accessible to all. And what do I mean by that? It is going to be a platform that will allow for immediate two-way translation, and it will also be accessible on whatever device a parent or guardian is on, whether that means they're communicating via text, communicating via app, email, so on. Next slide, please. Oh, great. Here's the challenge that many school districts face. You're trying to communicate in a variety of different ways. Mass notification system, a two-way classroom messaging platform, websites, Sign Up Genius, forms, all sorts of things. It's very difficult to manage. Next slide. And for parents, it's also very difficult to manage. I'll speak for myself. With 3 kids, roughly 18 teachers, 2 principals, I am being asked to download different apps, go to different places to be able to communicate with my teachers, with coaches, with counselors, and that's a challenge. Next slide, please. You have a lot of different personas at the district and at home, and what Parent Square does is it streamlines how easy it is for you to communicate as a district, as a school site, and your community. Next slide. You can hit that a few times. One more time. One more time. Perfect. This is the platform in silos here. We're not going to talk about the last one. Those are our websites. We're not going to talk about those today. Mass notifications. You are using a provider right now. This will send one-way robocalls, emails, text messages in the event of an emergency or non-emergency events, as well as attendance notifications. The classroom communication, this gives your teachers, your coaches, the ability to have two-way conversations with parents in whatever language that they speak or are comfortable communicating. It gives the district, the site administrators, the oversight, the ability to always have access to the communication that is taking place. School services, we liken this to a digital backpack. We want to make it easier for your parents to get involved. So if this means signing a permission slip online or on their phone, if this means filling out a form on their phone or online, if this means signing up for a parent-teacher conference, if this means eliminating some paper potentially and making it more modern for parents to be able to digitally raise their hand, be more engaged, then that's what Parent Square does. Next slide, please. This is who we are across the country. We are in roughly 40% of the United States public school districts. We sent out over 10 billion messages. That's a big number last year. And bottom right, not too many school districts leave Parent Square. It's because we're constantly innovating and the platform works. Next slide, please. One more. This is who we are in the state of Arizona. A few years ago, it was just Peoria, and we have grown and grown and grown and grown. There aren't too many districts that are not using Parent Square. Now it's easier to say that. That's it for me. If I can answer any questions, I'd be happy to.
Any questions from board members?
Madam President.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you for the presentation. I just had a couple questions. So I'm actually familiar with Parent Square. I use it at work. So what is, I guess I'll lead into, what's the overall cost for the district right now? Because this is like a breakdown per student, but I'm trying to figure out what the actual cost is.
Starting July 1st of 2026, it'll be approximately $25,000.
Okay. And then, so what does that $25,000 come with? Is that just the base program? Is that some of the add-ons? So, because I know a lot of things you named are actually add-ons. So what does that $25,000 actually
Yeah,
get us?
everything I named is included in the platform. It's called Engage Premium. So it's actually a stepped-up version of the base platform.
Okay. And then this might not be your answer, but if we go this route and who's going to do the initial setup of the groups and classrooms? Is that going to be on the teachers to set up, or are they going to send you like a roster and you will create the groups and classrooms for these teachers? Like, has that been talked about?
So that can happen in two different ways. One, we will be importing the information from the student information system. So if there are groups already created in the student information system, those will come over and be in Parent Square, including rosters. So teachers, for example, will not have to ask for parents to sign up. Those rosters will automatically come in. They will have the ability to opt out. Similarly, teachers or site administrators can create groups that are not in the student information system already.
So you guys would make the initial classroom where Ms. Boris can go in and be like, I need 7th grade, and all the 7th graders be there, and it'll just go to those 7th grade parents. Like, you guys will handle all that with the initial time.
Exactly.
Okay, and then, sorry, but does this include training for the site so they know how later on how to create the groups? Like, if they have a new sport comes up, they know they can create just that group
There's a one-time onboarding fee that does include training.
per site or for the district?
It's for the district, and then I believe they'll have the ability to customize that training. So if they want to, and this is common, bring principals in or office managers in and we can do those virtually. There are also plenty of free resources.
Okay, I guess last question for me. Sorry. So what is the cost? I'm sorry, what is our current cost for the platform we use now?
Mr. Mann might be better to answer, but I don't think we have a platform like this.
Yeah, I'm not asking that, but we do have a communication platform with the parents, correct?
What is it called? School Messenger? Yeah.
So as part of our student information system, we have School Messenger that is just push only to send. It's not an engagement platform or anything like that. So we have the ability to push information right now. It's completely different.
And that's rolled into the information management system. That's not, School Messenger is not a standalone. It's part of the package we got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but also Synergy seamlessly integrates with Parent Square as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a couple.
Okay, please.
Probably I'm going to ask, the things will pertain to both of you. First, I just want to say thank you so much for the presentation. I have heard great things about Parent Square. Is it like a multi-year contract?
I believe it's a 3-year contract. We typically give our districts the choice to make it a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year. I do not recall offhand if this one is. Do you know?
We had that same conversation about multi-year contracts, and I did say that our board prefers maybe a shorter contract in the initial setup.
Okay.
It does.
And if we were to sign a multi-year contract, will we be locked into that price for that?
You do get that price. However, companies like ours maintain the right to increase that cost by up to 5% annually.
Okay. And so this is a question for Mr. Mann. So, last November, actually, the board approved a new website that was to come with an app. So how that we, don't have, that was supposed to launch on July 1. So how is Parent Square different from the app from Juicebox?
Yeah, fair question. So Juicebox is the website, and it does have an app that's as a communications platform. So the functionality of them are very different. Juicebox, we've spoken with them, and it'll integrate well with Parent Square. So on our website, we'll have links to Parent Square. These will work hand in hand.
Okay. And so this is not going to replace Parent View either, that it contains the grades, correct?
That's accurate.
It's not going to replace it. Okay. Does this one have any way to kind of reward behavior? I'm just thinking of the platform like Class Dojo that, currently younger grades use, and the way for the teachers to communicate with the class and things like that.
I know it well. Q1, Q2 of 2026, we will be introducing something called Stickers, which is a positive classroom behavioral reinforcement tool, something similar to Dojo Points that will allow teachers, coaches to award stickers to typically in, K through 2 classrooms.
Okay. But it would, just to confirm, it would allow the teacher to send like a whole class message that would pop up, and then individual messages to teachers or to parents. I apologize. And a finance question. What would we be looking to pay this out of M&O?
We have a couple options. Portion of it could come from Tex Capital funds. These types of services are capital. because it's a tech subscription, so they don't impact M&O. But we have some other options too. We could use something like Civic Center funds because it's kind of a community communication tool. Medicaid, something like that. We have a few options.
Okay, that's all I have right now.
Madam President?
Please.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I've heard nothing but good things about this app, and there's been a lot of people talking to me about it, and I have yet to find somebody that hates it. So you guys have a good app here. So I do have a couple questions. One is, you had mentioned earlier on in the presentation the website part that that's not included in the package, right?
Correct.
Okay, because as was mentioned, we're supposed to be working on a website. The other thing is, when you mentioned the two-way communication where families can pick a language, does this translate for them? So if the teacher, let's just say English-speaking teacher, can say, I'm sending out this message, I want this message to go to somebody in Spanish, does it translate it?
The example I use in my demonstrations is, I'm an English-speaking math teacher, and I want to send a message to Mr. Prince that his daughter Carly is improving with her fractions. Hi, Chris. This is Mr. Jones, Carly's Spanish teacher. Just wanted to let you know she's improving so much with her fractions. I know she was struggling early in the year. Give her a high five tonight. In English, I'm a Spanish-speaking recipient, would receive that in Spanish. Spanish-speaking parent could respond back and say, muchas gracias, estoy muy orgulloso de ella. And that would go immediately to that English-speaking math teacher and say, thank you very much, I'm very proud of her.
Perfect. That's what I was looking for. And I guess all my other questions were pretty much answered already, so thank you.
Any other questions?
Sorry, I had another question.
Please.
You had said that the site administrator would be able to have some oversight in the communication. So would they be able to see all communication from all of their teachers and parents on that campus?
Yeah, they'd be able to, excuse me, they'd be able to search by first name, teacher name, parent name, child name, and then have access to all of the conversations that have taken place between that parent and anyone at that particular school site.
Okay.
So at the district level, they'd have the keys to the kingdom. At the site level, they would only be able to see the conversations between staff members at that site and the parent.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President, I'm sorry, I had another question that
Please
I
follow up.
overlooked. You had spoken about the training, the one-time fee for that. What is the cost of that training?
I believe it's about $2,500.
That'd be for the class.
That's the setup, the data integration from Synergy, the training, the setup of the sites.
Okay, and then is the training more of a train the trainer type training?
Typically it is.
Okay, so
it
our
doesn't
staff
have to
can
be.
come back, and then when we get new people hired on, they know how to train them or not. Okay.
Yeah, and for teachers, there's a 30-minute video. We understand that getting teachers together in a room is a little more difficult. So we just have a 30-minute video for them to watch.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? I would like to thank you also for your time tonight. It was a great presentation. It looks like a really cool app. I have not had the opportunity to use it. I would love to have the ability to take a look at it. Is there a version that we could just, mess around with as
Kick
just
the tires?
just see how it works?
Sure.
Because I think that could be helpful too.
I can go through Mr. Mann and set you up.
Thank you. All right, I think that's it for questions. Go ahead.
Sorry, can I?
Yeah, please.
I think, for me personally, I do really like this, but I think as a board member, I think before I approve something, I feel like we should be looking at the contract, because I think we need to decide as a board if we're going to go with a 1 year or a 3 year, and that would be my hesitation tonight. And if the plan isn't to implement it until July 1. I feel like we have some time that this could come back, but me personally, I'd like to see the contract.
Excuse me, we do have a prorated term that is starting January 1st.
I apologize.
Yeah,
I was
that's okay.
thinking July and January.
No,
my
no,
bad.
I was unclear. The first full year term starts July 1st, just to align with the fiscal year, but we do have the prorated term starting January 1st.
Madam President, for me,
Please.
I agree with Ms. Zimmerman. I think it'd be responsible of us to approve without looking at the contract.
I agree. So, I think we would need to get the contract so that we can all review it and see it. So if that could be, we can add that to a future agenda, so that we can review it and then discuss that before making a decision, unless anyone has a different opinion.
I make a motion to table 8.1.
We have a motion to table 8.1. Do we have a second?
Second.
Right, we have a motion and a second. So if there's no other discussion, we can take a vote. Board Member Todd?
Aye.
Board Member Zimmerman?
Aye.
Vice President Cirincione?
Aye.
Board Member Kenyon?
Aye.
I am also an aye, so we will show that that passed 5-0 to table this for further discussion.
Thanks.
Thank you. Right. Moving on to agenda item 8.2, discussion possible action to review FY25 procurement file for Amy Castellanos. Ms. Camerata, you're attached to this one.
President Schmidt and fellow board members, yes, we have discussed this. However, at the last governing board meeting, Board Member Zimmerman has asked for both agreements for Amy Castellanos, and you'll see both hard copies placed in front of you, and they're also attached for transparency. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Camerata?
I'd like to discuss
Discussion?
it.
Yes, please.
So, I have asked for this agenda item, and I just want to be really clear that I'm not indicating that the district has done anything wrong. But what I am concerned is that some members of this board have created a double standard when it comes to procurement. And I believe that this agreement showcases that. So, it is my understanding, and as many procurement experts have told us, and our consultant for financial services have told us, that it is typical to try to keep a PO under $10,000. And if you look at the very first consulting agreement, it is clear that that is what attempted to occur here with a PO of $9,500, a flat fee. Okay. So again, Mr. Kenyon has said in the past that he believes that that is suspicious. I'm not sure that that's the case. I feel like they used an example to create a double standard here because it happens all the time.
Madam
Now-
President, if I may.
I'm not done. Thank you.
Well, don't accuse
So-
me of saying things I didn't say.
You did say that, and we could point to the meeting if you'd like. I'd be happy to send you the minute for you to see it on the video.
Not about this agenda
No,
item.
not about this,
Thank
but
you.
a different one. So when we're talking about procurement, we're talking about procurement. And so again, it's only when it fits the narrative that you're looking to say. So I think what happened here is that they categorized the business office categorized this as two different services. But if you look at this, this is a consulting agreement both times. And it talks about facilitating, which, I could say that's a like service, and we should have gotten quotes before we ever entered into the second agreement. And so I just think that it's important to note that what has been done here is typical. And the questions that were raised to a different procurement issue fall in line exactly how this was done, but certain members of the board decided that that was a problem. And I am just concerned that we are creating a double standard and that we are not adhering to the same idea for all procurement or all situations across the board. So that's all I have to say about this agenda item.
Madam President, if I may.
You may.
Thank you. It's interesting that you want to pick on this one when you know this one is fine. The one that you're referring to was very much different. And so I would like the public, if they want to go back and look at it, I believe it's all public record. And these are what we have on this agenda item were two different agreements. They're both consulting, yes, but on two different, completely different issues. And so that is different than what Board Member Zimmerman is referring to.
Ms. Schmidt.
Go ahead.
I can't say that they're different because we haven't seen the agreements for the other situation that the board said was a problem. So again, if you've seen the agreements, the whole board hasn't seen them. So I can't say that they're very different because they look the same to me.
Any other comments from board members?
Madam President,
Yes,
if I
please.
may. I believe in the last meeting when this was discussed, Ms. Cameron, you said you did get additional quotes from other organizations, correct? Is it quote, correct me, is it quotes or there was discussion, is it quotes or is it bids? Quotes, right? Okay. You got quotes from other organizations, correct?
President Schmidt and fellow board members, the attachment that I attached to the quote summary in the last board meeting, Board Member Todd, that you were not here. The email stated there were quotes, but if I remember correctly, they didn't give me a definitive price quote. There was one that was a no bid, which is a quote, and the other one did not provide the service.
So I believe that would be the difference, is a no bid or doesn't provide the service is again a decline of it. So that gives us our 3 bids before we go farther, and we didn't exceed $100,000. Is that?
So we fill out a summary sheet. That's what Ms. Camaretta is referring to. And you can summarize the work that you've done to obtain 3 quotes. When you get a response from a vendor saying, I don't provide this service, that is a quote. So that you document your response that you got from the vendor. Also, no response at all is a quote. As long as you attempted to get 3 quotes and you have documentation of that, you've qualified for those rules.
So that's the difference between this, and I believe the other one that's being referred to is we did get quotes on this one, where the other one previously.
In this particular situation, the reason that we obtained the 3 quotes is because we had a purchase order in place for $3,100. We revised and we had $8,000 was our increase. At that point in time, it was clear that we were going to exceed the $10,000. So that's when we obtained the quotes. And then we had a 3rd revision later, bringing this purchase order up to $19,000 for this example that we're discussing.
So I think you are part of this process throughout. And as we heard earlier, we need to trust you on this. So we got 3 quotes, much different than a previous situation that this board heard a couple months ago, where there were 2 very similar contracts. Basically, item 1 and item 2 were essentially flip-flop. That was the big difference in those. And there were no additional quotes on there, which they did exceed the 10,000. So in this case, we exceeded the 10,000, but we got quotes, which is our requirement, correct?
You can only discuss this item.
Right.
We did obtain 3 quotes, yes.
Okay, we're good.
Ms. Schmidt.
Please.
So again, the idea is that certain board members have seen contracts to determine whether they're like services or not that other board members haven't. And just for clarification, that vendor has not been paid over $10,000 in the vouchers.
Do we have any other further discussion? this was listed as discussion or possible action. I don't really believe that there is any action to be taken at this point. Someone disagrees? Okay, then we can move on to 8.3, which is discussion possible action to award in response to invitation for bid IFB number 26-10-09 for tax rebate advisory services. Ms. Mosher?
Thank you. Good evening again. I would like to give you some background details on what's been done for this invitation for bid, and then I can answer any questions that you have. So we put out an invitation for bid for tax advisory services. The purpose of that was for the district to get some IRS rebates for clean energy vehicles and for fuel tax credits. That was put out in October. We set a deadline November 3rd. We received 2 bid responses, and we ultimately determined that one of those responses met the requirements that the district set out, and that was Trans Tax Advisors. So we are recommending that they be approved as the vendor to be awarded for this invitation for bid.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the board?
I have a couple questions. The last time this was presented to us, there was some concern about the timing of this and being able to apply for the rebates. So did we get clarification that we can still apply for these rebates?
Correct. We just had to have the vehicles be in service by September 30th, and our vehicles were in service last spring, so we do still qualify.
Okay, and is there a timeline for when they are in service and how long we have to apply for these rebates?
We have to apply before the next tax cycle closes. So they'll be helping us with that portion of it.
Okay, so by January 1st or just-
No, by next November.
Oh, okay. Okay, and so the second, the bid that the vendor you're recommending is the one that was presented to us before.
Correct.
And so the second one, basically didn't produce a bid is what I'm seeing, or didn't qualify.
Their bid didn't meet the requirements of what we asked.
Okay.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to reveal.
Okay. And so would we be using the same contract that was previously attached to a different agenda item?
Correct.
Okay.
Just with different dates.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions?
Comment.
Yes, please.
I think thank you very much for putting all this together, but I'm in the same feeling that I don't want to approve unless the contract's in front of me again, just so we can see it.
Any other discussion from board members?
Madam President, I would
Please.
suggest on these, first of all, we've made countless requests to staff to always provide legal approval in contracts, but we're only approving the action to award the response to the invitation. Once they award it, then contract negotiations would start, and then the district would bring it back to us, staff would bring it back to us to approve the contract. This does not bind us into a contract at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Todd. Yes, this is just to award the vendor. And then if you wish, we can bring the contract back for a separate approval.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other comments or questions for Ms. Mosher? If not, if someone would like to. Nope, there's no motion.
Well, continuing on, Ms. President, if I may.
Yeah, please.
You also just had, I think, an approval back at 7.9 that didn't really lay out all the contracts completely as well in detail form. So that one's done, but I would just advise the board, when you move forward, you're only moving forward to approve the award. The contract will come back. So if somebody, I think there was another one previously that got held up, we could bring that back at this meeting still because it hasn't closed and discuss it as well if the board so chooses. but I would make a motion for the approval of item 8.3 to award a response to invitation for bid IFB 26-10-09 for tax rebate advisory services.
So we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. You ready, Ms. Camerata? All right, take the vote. Board Member Todd?
Aye.
Board Member Zimmerman?
Aye.
Vice President Cirincione?
Aye.
Board Member Kenyon?
Aye.
I'm also an aye. We'll show that that passed 5-0. And, all right, that is the end of the general business. We can move on to 9.1, board comments or agenda topic requests.
Yeah, Madam President, if I may.
Yes, please.
There's been a couple board updates that had some information in there that I think we need to discuss as agenda items. One was Mr. Young was asking about a cell tower lease over at Freedom. And I think that that's something that we need to bring as an agenda item so we can discuss that. Another thing that Mr. Young was looking for approval on was the 2-acre land sale and continuing that process. So I think we need to bring that back to discuss it. And then I would also like to have the conversation about our psychologist, Ms. Harrison, and the compensation for her services rendered as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other agenda requests?
Yes, I do. I'd like to review the parent-student handbook in regards to field trips, as we've gotten several emails from parents. I would like an update on Juicebox and where we are with the launch, as it should have launched 4 months ago. And if we could just get clarification about the board agenda request form, if we need to add in our old ones into that so that they show up on the new spreadsheet, or just some clarification.
Okay, thank you.
President Schmidt.
Yes, please.
And board members. As far as the agenda log, the Google form, if I have the topics already, Ms. Zimmerman, but if you want to just make sure that they get entered in there, if you can just go ahead and add the ones that have not made it on the board agenda. And then for those of you who have requested agenda topics, please make sure that you go into that Google form and complete that. Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder. So we have all of the agenda topics written down from tonight, but if you did request something, please add it to the form so that we can track it. And it's clear to everyone on the board how it's being tracked and the dating on it. Sorry, did anybody else have any other agenda items?
Madam President, I'd like to ask that we look at, every year we usually get a report on each campus and their performance and proficiency rates from the state testing. Now that the results are out, it'd be very interesting to see those and see how we met versus our goals that were presented last year.
All right. All right. If there are no other topics, just again, last reminder, just make sure you add it to that Google Sheet so we can all see it and get it on the agenda as quickly as possible.
President Schmidt, I'm sorry,
Yes,
just
please.
one more thing. Board members, clarify if it's an agenda topic, or would you like just the information added in the board update?
Yeah, thank you for that. All right, moving on to item 10.1, upcoming board meetings. We have a special board meeting scheduled for this Thursday, November 13th at 5:30 p.m. The 24th is still listed on here, but that is canceled, correct? Okay, so we do not have one on Monday, November 24th. That is Thanksgiving week, so please stay home. And then our next meeting after that will be Monday, December 8th, which is a regular board meeting with a special board meeting ahead if necessary. But right now it'll just be a regular board meeting at 5:30 on Monday. All right. And with that, we can move to 11.1 and adjourn the meeting at 7:10 p.m. I don't like making noise.